Okay. In celebration of El Dia del Niño, the Day of the Child in Western New York, I, Council Member Joseph Golombek, would like to read a poem from my favorite book. And my favorite book is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I was always a reader since I was a small child, but when I was in 7th grade, I saw the comic version, the cartoon version of The Hobbit on television. And I asked my older sister to get me a copy of the book, and she did. And she brought it home for me, and I fell in love with the book, with fantasy, with The Lord of the Rings, because in this book there's stories about a dragon and dwarves and hobbits and elves and men and goblins and trolls and evil wargs, and it's a great, great book and a great adventure. But what I'm going to read to you is one of my favorite poems from the book, and it takes place when Bilbo Baggins, who's a little 4-foot hobbit, ends up meeting with a group of 13 dwarves, and they're trying to get him to go on an adventure with them. And here is the poem, and I loved this poem when I was your age, and still to this day when I'm much older than you. Far over the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day to seek the pale enchanted gold. The dwarves of yore made mighty spells, while hammers fell like ringing bells in places deep where dark things sleep, in hollow halls beneath the fells. For ancient king and elvish lord, there many a gleaming golden hoard they shaped and wrought, light they caught to hide in gems on hilt of sword. On silver necklaces they strung, the flowering stars on crowns they hung. The dragon fire and trysted wire, they meshed the light of moon and sun. Far over the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day to claim our long forgotten gold. Goblets they carved there for themselves, and harps of gold where no man delves. There lay they long, and many a song was sung unheard by men or elves. The pines were roaring on the heights, the winds were moaning in the night. The fire was red, it flaming spread, the trees like torches blazed with light. The bells were ringing in the dale, and men looked up with faces pale. The dragon's ire, more fierce than fire, laid low their towers and houses frail. The mountains smoked beneath the moon, the dwarves, they heard the tramp of doom. They fled their halls to dying fall, beneath his feet, beneath the moon. Far over the misty mountains grim, to dungeons deep and caverns dim, we must away ere break of day, to win our harps and gold from him. And that's how the story starts, because these dwarves are trying to get back to their homeland, to the mountain where they lived once upon a time, and a very, very bad dragon had come in and stolen everything from them. If you like this book, and I bet you some of you would, it is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I hope you read.